You are watching Area DMG.
What's going on?
Hi, Dante.
Hi.
Thanks very much for coming. My name is Matt Porter. I'm the head of the NDK press department.
Nice
Appreciate your being here, taking
Of
time out
course.
of the afternoon.
Of
We've got a group of correspondents from different press outlets and websites here.
Very cool.
We're just going to try to keep this informal, but we'll take turns asking questions.
Sure.
And anything you need, let us know.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Shoot.
So, you're first?
I guess so.
Hi, my name's Seth. I'm here with NerdFeed.
How you doing? Very well, thank you.
So, you lended your voice to Zuko, the firebender, right?
Yes.
Firebending, based on what I've researched, is loosely based on Kempo. Did you have any involvement in researching Kempo or the martial arts to play that role?
No, I believe it's North Shaolin. I believe that was
Yes,
firebending.
that's what I believe too.
But Kempo's cool though too. I actually did a movie called Perfect Weapon with Ed Parker, who was the father of American Kempo, and just speaking years ago. And ironically, that was the first time Mako, who played Uncle Iroh in the series Avatar, played my uncle in that movie also. It's called The Perfect Weapon. But as far as my influence on it, no, Sifu Kisu, who's the head kind of like martial arts consultant. But there's other masters that were consulted with as far as different Tai Chi with the water bending or earth bending. Sifu Manny did a lot of that kind of stuff. Mike and Brian are sticklers, and what makes them so great is how they really stick to the details of a lot of things. And I've run into many martial artists over the years that really appreciated the animation of the styles and how it really reflected their individual styles. So, did I have any influence? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But I was, a student like everybody else during the shooting of it, during the taping of it in the beginning when they're creating the styles and stuff. Thank you.
Hi Dante, Jim from The Game Slave.
How you doing?
Good. When you were getting into the role of Zuko, did they tell you at all about what his character arc was going to be in the end, or did you just kind of come into it and were exploring it at the same time kind of the audience was learning?
I'm just like you guys, I could went in there. I was actually doing Jake Long, the American Dragon for Disney at the same time. Me and May Whitman, we were doing Jake Long, and we both booked Avatar from Nickelodeon at the same time, and the studio's really kind of upset because we started both shows at the same time. I'm sure Disney wasn't very happy. The mouse doesn't, take to these things sometimes. But I thought, I was a good guy on Jake Long, and I figured I was just gonna be the bad guy on Nickelodeon, which I thought was cool. But I was just like the audience. I mean, it was really fascinating to see this character unravel and the storyline come to life and see the redemption of this kid. I really just thought I was gonna be the bad guy in the whole piece. I was like, with the ponytail, and then little by little, you're like, wow, who's this guy? What's going on? And as the world kind of, like I said, unraveled, unfolded, it was really beautiful to see, and then it became a phenomenal hit, and not just for kids, it became this really pop culture hit. I was doing a movie in Toronto, and a few things happened. Like in Toronto, and one of the cast members, in his 20s, oh my God, you're in Avatar! That's my show. I'm like, you watch Avatar? And I ran into Jason Isaacs, who played General Chow, and obviously he's a great actor. I ran into him at Sundance Film Festival one year, and we're standing out in the snow outside a cafe, and he was like, Dante, that cartoon we did. I'm like, he goes, what the? And I was like, I know, we didn't know. I don't think any of us knew what the show was going to become, what Zuko was going to become. Quite honestly, I didn't even think it was going to work, really. I mean, we're just actors. You're like, it's not my job to figure out what's going to work or what's not going to work. But, when you're walking onto the Nickelodeon campus and it's Double Dare Slime on the roof, and it's SpongeBob and Cat Dog and everything on the, all the great Nickelodeon shows on the walls, and then they give you an epic Asian anime-inspired tale. You're like, this is not Nickelodeon. This is definitely not Nickelodeon. This is not going to work. This is crazy. And it becomes one of the biggest, it becomes their biggest hit since SpongeBob. It's crazy. I think it's really, I don't know, it's just pretty wild. For me, it was like, I grew up like I grew up a Star Wars fan, like a lot of people, and then you see this kind of new Star Wars, world being a new generation taking this new world. It's like, oh my God, is this the new Star Wars? And you're like, am I Han Solo? Like, what's going on here? So that's a cool feeling,
Hi, my name is Philip Wesley with Radio DMG, DMG Ice, and Area DMG.
Hello.
And you mentioned that, well, it seems like acting has had a profound effect on your life.
Yeah.
Where do you think you would be if you were not able to act at a young age?
Good question. I've been an actor for over 30 years now, which is, it's pretty wild because, as you know, like acting in Hollywood and even just the life of an artist, it's a very, arguably one of the hardest professions to do, and to be doing it as long as I have been doing it. How would it affect my life profoundly? I started out as a breakdancer in the streets of San Francisco, moved to LA when I was 10 with my family, started working, continued to work now into my 40s, and beyond acting now, I also write and produce, and several movies I've co-written have been produced, and co-partners in a company that does Asian American Pacific Islander films, and at this point in my career, I'm very passionate about creating opportunities for the next generation, and really fascinated with the digital market, and also love writing. Just got a book deal that I have to write a book in the next year, think about my life. It's profoundly, impacted my life. I mean, what was the question? What would I be doing?
It'd be like, where do you think you would be if you had not gotten that opportunity?
Yeah, I don't know, I think about it sometimes, When I was a kid, we were break dancers, and dance was my first love. And once a dancer, always a dancer. I still consider myself a dancer in my heart in a lot of ways. Even though in your 40s you can't really dance like you used to dance. And we were break dancers, and then we got, we started dancing for the San Francisco Ballet Company, got picked up, got scholarships, and we did the Nutcracker with them. And so I often think I might have, gone in that direction, really, ballet and whatnot. So I might have been there. I mean, it'd be definitely a place of the arts, that's what I do, or writing. I really love writing. I started a poetry venue in my living room about 20 years ago during the poetry kind of boom in the 90s, and it just so happened that me and my crew became these really, just important poets in LA. We brought, LA Times kind of tagged us as being the crew that bring poetry back to Los Angeles. I mean, obviously after the Beat era and whatnot. And so during the spoken word scene, DPL, which was originally Dante's Poetry Lounge, which is now DPL the Poetry Lounge, went on to inspire what became Deaf Poetry Jam on HBO and on Broadway, which won a Tony, and then now still every Tuesday night, 9 to midnight, DPL the Poetry Lounge is the largest weekly open mic venue in the world. So maybe writing. I mean, so they're all still all part of my life, but I'd probably be writing or dancing or I don't know. Just being a poet, troubadour, walking around the world. Just doing my thing. But somewhere in the arts, I think it's all a part of it.
Kevin Avis with Rocky Mountain Collegian. And my question for you is, you recently had done a film for your character Rufio from Hook.
Yes.
About his origin prior to the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider doing anything like that, whether animated or live action, for Prince Zuko due to his popularity?
Yeah, with Rufio, the whole Bangarang short film, I kind of co-signed it in a lot of ways. It's really not my project. It's really a project for a young filmmaker named Jonah Feingold. He's a 25-year-old USC grad that super Hollywood story. Just met in a Hollywood watering hole, like by chance, and he's like an uber fan, great filmmaker, and had this idea. And because it was the 25th anniversary, I was like, now's a good time to do it, I guess. And it really captured the imagination of lot of fans, you know, and it went viral both within the fandom scene and just within. It went viral in like got picked up by like MTV and Entertainment Weekly and so many you know important film blogs and which is now spurred on to like we have the original writer J.B. Hart who originally wrote Hook attached to the project and creating it and producing it with us and a lot of major people trying to see if we can actually turn that into a film, which is exciting. So now we don't own that IP. That's like a fan-based kind of. It was just a conversation that really went viral. Again, same thing with Zuko. We don't really own the IP, and you know, it's still fresher. It's like 10 years old or something like that. But I've been approached again for cats that are inspired by it. I do like that. It's really about. I get a kick out of, you know, the new generation getting inspired by things that we've done, and part of our job as I guess, you know, vets, or I feel like a young vet, I guess, elder statesman in the game, is to help, you know, the guys that we think that are really good, if we can, you know, help them out or kind of help the process go. Creating anything. The digital world has really changed Hollywood, the landscape of what Hollywood is, and Comic-Con has changed Hollywood also. So, yeah, you never know. Something's going to happen. Someone's coming with the right idea. I was actually, you know, pitched something by a really big YouTube kid who wants to do something in the guidelines of that, which I'm waiting on a draft to see what it is. We just have a lot more freedom to try things online and have fun with it. And it's not something sanctioned by studios, but at the same token, it services the fan base and can capture their imaginations and whether or not studios pick it up or not, it's always exciting to do storytelling. That's our job. At the end of the day, it's like we're storytellers, and sometimes you're doing it for big money with studios, and sometimes you're just doing it with friends. But it always comes back down to that. You know what I'm saying? No matter it's what level you're doing on, if it's the right energy and the right story, and you're really having fun and passionate about telling the story because there's something that connects within you. That's it. That's the shit. You know what I'm saying? You always want to stay connected to that. Whether again, if it's going to be for multi-million-dollar budgets, or we're just doing favors for friends and going, you have a story to tell, like, I'll show up, let's do it. So I'm sure something with Zuko will show up sooner or later.
So I'm Marcus from Kaiju no Kami. I am also a teacher, so what words of wisdom could you give to students, the children that are either looking to get into acting or be poets, and how they could maybe work with that to actually accomplish their goals?
Yeah, I've been an artist my whole life, and you got to train. It's a craft like anything else. I did write a poem, advice to the young artist, a quick piece that goes like this. Seek out and study with a master if you're after greatness. My aim is to impact the world and be a catalyst for changes. F what your name is. You should want to be good more than you want to be famous. And it's a very simple poem, but it really, it's a lot of my beliefs. It's like, fame and fortune's good, but be good. Like, try to be good. And that if that's your first focus, that's a life work. I studied in conservatory for 20 years, and part of my work now is helping to pass it on to the next generation. I mean, the cycle of artistry is like martial arts. It's like the same thing. It's like you find a master, you study, you become a master, and you pass it on. That's the simple cycle. That's the simple cycle of it all, right? Parenting, everything. But it's like, go seek out a master, become a master, pass it on. And that's in a nutshell that's our community, that's our life, that's part of what we do. I mean, the business and the money, whether you get famous or not, whether people appreciate your work in the long run or not, is another aspect of it, learning the business side of things, and that's things I've done also. But at the core of what we do for young artists that want to start this thing and kind of get into it, it's like, go study. with a master, hopefully. Become a master, you know, pass it on. Simple.
Hi Dante, my name is Diaz Dollar with Colorado Musical. What was your favorite thing like doing as Zuko? What was your favorite part about being Zuko?
I mean, it's just, it always comes down to story, you know? It's a great story, a great redemption story. I always, you know, I tell a lot of the fans out there, it's like, I didn't experience it like you guys. I experienced it through reading the scripts and through performing it. So it's very different than an audience member watching it. And so, as performers, it's like, the best thing, you know, doing the performance is, that's it. Like, again, like the fame and fortune and people appreciating it is great, but that's really not what we're doing. It's like you book these jobs and you play these characters, and the joy in acting is acting, right? So getting to play this character and getting to do the dance with these other actors who become, you know, special people in your life, and that's what it's about. For me as an actor, for a lot of actors, it's like the movie comes out later on and you're like, okay, it's great you guys like the movie, but you understand, like, that's a year of my life. Like, those are people in my life. Those are people that became really good friends, or, you know, or loved ones, or people you dated, or avatars. Between Avatar and between Airbender and Korra, I mean, I worked on that project for like 10 years, right? It's a decade of your life. It's like, you grew up with May and Jack and Mako, you know, he's, like I said, he's known me since I was 12. It's like seeing Mike and Brian, these two writer and directors, do their first kind of like big thing and blossom into this amazing thing, and get to work with these guys, or to be in the booth and talk to and have a relationship with Andrea Romano, who's just a legendary voice director. I mean, the best parts of working is working and having these relationships and getting to perform, and creative juices in good times and bad times, and it's just a part of your life, you know. Mako passed away in the last season of it. Really, you know, everyone was impacted by that, and but you know, at the end of the day, it's like all of our DNA is in the show, and when it comes together in a beautiful way, you know, something great like Avatar, Last Airbender could happen. So it's always like my favorite part is like that, like it's just getting to work with these folks and kind of becoming this family for the time that you're together.
So you've impacted the characters that you've played exponentially. How have the characters that you've played impacted you?
Yeah, they all impact you. I mean, there's an old saying in acting that the character's stuck with you and you're stuck with the character. So that essentially means, you know, there's a lot of me and there's a lot of Dante in all the characters, and there's a lot of Zuko and me. There's a lot of Rufio and me, and it's constantly, you know, your career is constantly informing you in your life, the story of your life is constantly. I mean, when you look at actors' lives and their work, a lot of times they're parallel, because that's how it works, you know. You get cast a lot about what you're going through in life. So many times God, I was going through things in my life, and you're doing something on the set or in the vocal booth that is mirroring your life, you know. I mean, Avatar happened so many times. Jake Long, American Dragon, I remember was going through something, he was fighting the dark dragon. It's like, I'm going through that right now. Or, I mean, funny things, like I'm having like a secret love affair with some girl, and then like you're like having a secret love affair in the thing, and like, how is this happening? Like, what am I? And then you're just trying to learn lessons from it, and it's and you're inferring your kind of lessons into this character. So, at least for me, my career has always mirrored my life, and vice versa. So, we inform each other all the time.
In traveling around, have you found more people tend to recognize you as Zuko or as Rufio?
It's funny, you know, I think a lot of times it's a generational thing. There's a generation that grew up with Rufio that's a very strong, it just became an iconic character for a certain generation. And so I'll forever be recognized as Rufio for them, you know. And then, you know, same thing in the next generation, that Zuko and Avatar has become this iconic story, and Zuko's become this iconic character. You know, as an actor, it's just dumb luck that you do something at the right time where a lot of people appreciate it or connect to it. So, you know, I'd say it's half-half. It's very odd. I don't know. Look, I'm 42, so I did Hook when I was 15. So in a lot of ways, I've been Rufio longer than I haven't been Rufio, right? Which is crazy. And it's not, you know, it's all good. It's like some people will forever remember you. You know, Mark Hamill will. I love Mark Hamill. I work with Mark, and he's played my father, and we've done other series together. And you know, you go to a party, and it's like Mark is like, you know, Dante, how are you doing? And a little fangirl inside you goes, oh my God, Luke Skywalker knows me. You know, like he'll always be Luke Skywalker to me, no matter what. I mean, he's a Joker to some people. He's this amazing actor, but he's Luke Skywalker to me. He will forever be Luke Skywalker to me, and I'm like that for other people. So that's great. Yeah, and the voice acting. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't set out to be a voice actor. It became a part of my career. You do this iconic character, and Zuko is this very important character to a lot of people. And it's not even my face; it's my voice. But I will go around and a whole generation knows me as Prince Zuko, like, without a doubt. Like, I could be anywhere, nothing to do with a con, just somewhere, and it's like, you're Prince Zuko, and I'm like, okay, yeah.
So, in your travels, you may have noticed that at these conventions and such, there's just a wonderful energy that happens at these conventions. People come to these conventions just ready and raring to meet their voice actors or see art or meet the dealers or just indulge in this hobby. This hobby is a very high energy hobby.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people, they gather up all that energy and just kind of expend that at the convention.
Right.
Do you have any tips for how people may take the energy and that joy that they feel at conventions to their everyday lives, dealing with bullies or depression or school or work?
You know, I mean, you understand, like, we're actors and filmmakers and artists, and it's like, the whole thing I love about cons is this is a place for creative people. It's creative people. Like, these are our people. You know, when you come here, I love the whole community, and it's always like, this is our people. You know, this is creatives. That's what we are. That's the breed of people we are. And I always, when I do keynotes at, you know, drama schools or even do long panels at cons, what I like to tell them, I do a lot of analogies. And one of my biggest analogies is Harry Potter. So I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I explain to them that, you know, when you're creative, once you get into the world of the arts, and it doesn't mean you have to be an art, like, I make a living of artists. It doesn't mean you have to have your profession as an artist. You guys are here, you're artists, you're cosplaying, you draw, you're visual artists, you are in the world of being a creative. When you're here, you're a creative. That's why we love going to con, because these are our people. But you understand, when you do that you realize we're artists. We are wizards. What we do is nothing short of magic. What I explain to them is, you're a wizard. Once you're a wizard, you're Harry Potter. You're like the kid that was underneath the stairs. You go into this new world. When we're in this world, anything's possible. What we do is magical. Now, there are other people in the world that don't understand that will never understand that.
The muggles.
They're muggles. It's okay, they're muggles. It doesn't mean you have to look down on them or you know, love them any less, because they could be your parents, they could be your brothers and sisters, they could be your best friends. But they're muggles. But when you understand, like, they're never going to get it. It's okay, they're never going to understand why this cartoon means so much to this anime, or why you stay up all night to write a song, or a poem, or to paint a picture, or to learn a scene. I mean, it has zero value to them, and it may mean life and death to you. But that's okay. You know, when you're young and you don't understand, where everyone needs to understand what you do. No, they don't. They're muggles. If you look at them, they're never going to understand the magical world. But you do. When we come here, we do. This is what we do. So when you have a better understanding of that, it gives you less pressure to, to care what it doesn't impact them as much. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it impact, what's a muggle going to tell Harry Potter?
They can't steal your magic.
They can't steal your magic. You're never going to get it. You're dealing in a different realm than them. And it doesn't make neither one's better than the other. They're just different. And that's okay. So once you kind of have that experience and that kind of like knowledge, you can kind of have a little less pressure or stress on it.
So I'm Kelly with Kaiji no Kami. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hello.
So you've done so much. The first time I've ever seen you was Rufio, which was my favorite character in Coco. So I know you have a lot of inspiration, but what drives you to keep on going or persevere to the next project?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, everybody can live while they work. And the whole thing about this whole Hollywood acting life is trying to figure out how to live between jobs. That's your job. Staying inspired, I mean, it goes back to the lifestyle of an artist, right? We don't live a regular life. We don't have regular jobs. We don't, So you get to stay inspired. And people go, well, how do you do it over the years? It's like, produce theater in class. I think I produced it's crazy, 90-some, showcases for other actors and myself. I write plays, I wrote plays, get them produced. I created this Asian American art collective, We Own the Eighth, for the next generation of Asian American creatives. Created this production company, created the Poetry Lounge. I had a band in the 90s with my brothers. We toured all around. We're creatives. You just keep creating. That's what we do. We create, write poetry. When you're an artist, it's again, you step out of the realm of, you leave the regular world. It's true. You join the circus. There's tons of stuff to do in the circus. I mean, you're in the circus. We're great. We're all there. When you understand that really, the reality that we're all in this together, and there's different facets of it, and they're open to all of them. That's how you stay kind of fresh. It's you're constantly inspired. When I say you step out of the world, we don't live in the regular world. We're in a new world where everything will, inspire or be a part of your art. It's this is not just an interview. This can be a part of a story someday. The sunset is just not the day ending. It's a thing of beauty that will impact you in some way. You can write a poem or something. This meal is not just a meal. This is something to inspire me to. That's how the world is. It's you're no longer a civilian. You're an artist. When you're an artist, go create. Go be impacted by the world. Feel. Express yourself. There's no shortage. I mean, look at the world. There's so much going on. We're in a turbulent time in this country. There's so much to write about and feel and talk about and put your point of view out there and create art for however your beliefs are. I mean, and it's not just this time. It's all time. It's a living, breathing thing going on. So it's kind of, it's just, you learn as you kind of go to just stay creative and just keep expressing yourself. I guess it's hard. I don't know. It's one of those things like that.
No, it's very beautiful how you put it. So thank you.
So where did you all start your acting career and your voice acting career?
Like I said, it started as a breakdancer. It starts on the streets of San Francisco, and it starts. That's where it starts. It's much like the movie Billy Elliot. If you watch, when I watch Billy Elliot, my brothers, and we're all artists, we're all still actors and artists and filmmakers today. We were these blue-collar kids from the hood in the Bay Area and moved to neighborhood Paramount, which is right next to Compton in LA. we're neighborhood kids. Like, our families sometimes and friends and, you know, in gangs and selling drugs and just, it doesn't matter where you come from, right? But once you go to that world, it's like Billy Elliot, like once he became ballet, the world opens up. There's a lot of things that you live in, and just because we live in a neighborhood, we live in this neighborhood. But anyone, you can live in any neighborhood. Your confines of your world is this. When you become an artist, all of a sudden things open up. Like, oh my God, there's museums, there's ballets, there's people making movies, not just a place to go to, you know, to go ooh and ah and tell a story. It's actually a weapon of enlightenment, or there's these other messages. There's all these things going on in the world that if you're not an artist or you're not open to those things, you're not really reading it the same way, you know. So where's it starts there. It starts from the boldness of thinking you're good enough to go out in public and do something for people you don't know, right? That's the seed of every artist. Because there's an artist in all of us. We all have thoughts and we all have things we want to say about ourselves or about the world, but are you bold enough to go out and do that in front of people, to people that you don't know? That's the threshold of the artist, right? So at like 7, 8 years old, me and my brothers thought we were good enough to go into the streets with a cardboard box and a boom box and be out there with a hat, you know, on Pier 39, Telegraph Avenue, Berkeley, wherever out there. But not only just to do routines and dance for people, but also, this is the birth of hip-hop. You're out there also for any breakdancing group to come up and battle you and make you look bad. So from 7 to 10, we're in the streets. That is the birth of it all. Because when you come into the world of Hollywood, it's the same thing. If you're going to get on stage, if you're going to go into a room and do casting, if you're going to create something, put it out there, that's a boldness of the artist, is to go, whatever I have to say is worthy, or do is worthy enough to be out there in front of others, to be judged, to be whatever, you know, good, bad, someone to come and question you. Not everything you do is going to be great, but that's where it all begins. The beginning of going, whatever I have, whatever I got is, I'm going to put out in front of people I don't know and have the vulnerability for it to be, you know, go any direction.
It looks like there's a conflict of scheduling, and it looks like we'll have to wrap it up about here.
That's it?
So sorry about that.
Thank you guys. Great conversation.
Thank you for your signature.